Legal Eagle is a very successful YouTube channel run by Devin Stone, an attorney who makes learning about the legal system fun and interesting. I've used Legal Eagle as a model for my own content because law and ethics are both topics that are traditionally kind of dry and boring, and both Devin and I are trying to make it fun. He's just way ahead of me. We often don't think of YouTube channels as businesses, but especially once you start getting hundreds of thousands of subscribers, they really are. Often there are multiple producers, editors, animators, and writers involved, not just the on-screen personalities. Recently, we got just a little peek into the business that is Legal Eagle, as well as a great example of ethical leadership from Devin. Here's what went down and why it matters. In 2018, Legal Eagle hired a motion graphics artist and video editor named Amy for some freelance work on their videos. At the time, Legal Eagle was a much smaller channel that was just starting to gain some steam. Amy quickly moved from freelancer to a full-time employee who got to spend the next few years doing what she described as her dream job, creating ridiculous but educational videos with an abundance of creative freedom. Then, in October of 2022, she decided to quit her dream job so that she could pursue her own ventures, which included her own YouTube channel, sitting at a whopping 192 subscribers. She recorded a video talking about her experience working at Legal Eagle, what she learned, and how she was going to move forward. And because of her experience as an editor, that video was incredibly well done. But what really made the difference is that Legal Eagle made a post to their YouTube community with a link simply saying, "My former editor spills the beans on what it's like to work for Legal Eagle and how much of a tyrant I am. We miss you, Amy." That's it. 2 sentences, one of which is sarcastic, and a link. Within 2 weeks, Amy's video had over 1 million views, and her 192 subscribers had become over 63,000. Anyone who has ever worked to build a community on any platform knows how hard it can be. In fact, Amy was willing to answer a couple questions about this experience for me, and she said, "I was really grinding hard for about 7 months, trying to gain traction with my channel on YouTube and TikTok. There was a lot of doubt creeping in around month 6 because I truly believed if the quality was so good, it would eventually find an audience. I watched tons of tutorials from every social media guru I could find, and I already understood a lot about the YouTube machine, but it wasn't enough." All this to say, what I've learned is that sometimes it's not enough to be great at something. You can have all the right systems in place, but ultimately, for me, it was the power of Devin's influence that gave me that little extra push to the surface. And that's what I want to highlight here, because most of the time, a boss isn't thrilled to lose a crucial member of their team. A fairly common reaction would just be to wish them well and move on to try to find a replacement. But Devin went so far beyond that. He went out of his way to endorse her, and by doing so, gave her the opportunity to pursue her dream. Making the leap from 200 subscribers to 63,000 often takes years of work and a considerable amount of luck, all while usually costing you a good chunk of money. Devin single-handedly changed the course of her channel and perhaps her life with 2 sentences. It cost him nothing, but to her, it was a huge deal. But most importantly, this act of appreciation and kindness came when Devin had nothing to gain from it. Employee-employer relationships are interesting and kind of tricky because they are always somewhat transactional. But at this point, the transaction had ended. Devin had nothing to gain, but he chose to be kind anyway, which is kind of what makes it kindness. But it's such a powerful example of how to be a good leader. And sure, most of us don't have a following of 2.5 million people and the ability to transform lives with 2 sentences. But we all have power and influence in one area or another, and often the best way to help people costs us nothing. I don't consider myself a particularly fancy person, but if someone wanted to get their foot in the door in a particular company or industry, I could potentially alter the course of their career by introducing them to the right people. And you probably could too. It should should be standard practice for bosses and supervisors to help former employees transfer out of the organization and on to their next adventure as smoothly as possible, which includes helping make connections, providing references, and so on. But even beyond professional development, it is shocking how often we can make someone's day or change someone's life with simple acts of kindness. It's so incredibly cliche that it almost hurts me to say it, but a kind word or a compliment is sometimes all it takes to lift people out of some pretty dark places. And it costs us absolutely nothing. And if you are in the position to positively transform someone's life forever, maybe you should. I'm hoping this is just the first video in a series highlighting good leaders doing great things. If you know someone who deserves more credit for being an ethical leader, let me know in the comments. Now get out there and make the world a better place.